Alena Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. Today we're having our weekly live session where I will be sharing the most recent immigration news and answering your questions. So welcome. Please type up your name in our chat, where you're watching from, and most importantly, your question. Now is a good time to ask me some questions for free. I will not be able sometimes to answer questions of everyone who is asking, but most people will receive their answers. This is a good opportunity for those who have just one little question and do not require in-depth consultation to be pointed at the right direction, to find that little piece of information, get that peace of mind, or to see what and how and when they have to be doing to get their answer. So this is our live. Welcome. Do not forget to like and share this video so more people will be able to join us. More people will be able to get answers to their questions. And again, don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. Today we will be discussing the most recent immigration news. What's happening in Congress? What's going on with the asylum border help for Ukraine and Israel, and what Trump promised if he is going to be elected. And of course, I will be answering your guys' questions. Very nice to see you all, and we are going to start. So here is what's going on, very interesting. We don't have any critical immigration news. There were some settlement agreements reached between various groups that are suing the government for the situation at the border, prolonged detention, lack of credible fear interview on time. But again, if you're interested in that news, I will probably make a separate video about that. But here's what's going on, generally speaking. Interestingly enough, somehow, our immigration problem got tied up with financial aid for Ukraine and Israel. You may be asking yourself, how on earth did this happen? Why people who live in the United States have to now worry about financial aid to Ukraine and Israel in connection with immigration reform? But here's how. Apparently, Republicans are saying that they will not be signing anything that is related to financial aid for Ukraine and Israel unless there are provisions related to immigration reform, but not in the sense that you would hope for. They're saying that they would like to see stricter policy at the border, to renew the construction of the wall, to limit humanitarian parole, and impose further restrictions on asylum qualifications. I'm not making this up. This is all taken from credible news reports. So basically what's going on is that now the political situation that the United States find themselves in potentially may affect immigration situation, internal policies as well. Humanitarian parole currently is used for a lot of different purposes. You may be aware that some people who come to the United States to seek asylum receive it at the border, while after they register with CBP-1 app, other people can receive humanitarian parole if they're nationals of certain countries, such as Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela. People from Ukraine qualify for U4U. It's a parole. So what exactly is being proposed, how exactly to limit humanitarian parole, this article specifically doesn't specify, but my guess would be to revert to the use of humanitarian parole as we had it prior to 2022, which means that it was almost impossible to receive it. Humanitarian parole, strictly speaking, would be given usually to people who can show that they have a family petition pending for them. Usually it would be child. And for the child not to be left behind in the country of origin, that such a child would be granted humanitarian parole to come to the United States to unite with the parents. Usually it would affect children, lawful permanent residents, right? So that was the usual, commonly used way to utilize humanitarian parole prior to 2022. I've heard sometimes that people at the border would be paroled for humanitarian purposes. Someone, for example, who had asylum, did not receive advance parole, left the United States, but then was seeking entry, would be paroled. Again, it's on case-by-case basis, guys. You should file for advance parole to travel when you qualify for it. But now, if Republicans will succeed, we may see potentially a huge shift in Biden's administration policy overall as to immigration and immigration at the border. I personally think that humanitarian parole programs work great. They may be improved, but they do allow people to come to the United States legally. Such people are now accounted for. They receive work permits and they pay taxes, which is very important. If you would ask me, I would say that we should expand humanitarian parole program, perhaps to other countries where people would like to come to the United States from, so that, again, people will be accounted for. We will fight the illegal crossings and human trafficking, which is very, very important. But that's what's going on with, situation regarding our immigration currently. And it's also important because you may be aware, and I have not checked today any news, but I think we have a budget situation where the temporary budget was authorized until and through November 17th, which is Friday. But that authorization is expiring. And if nothing else is introduced and adopted, we may find ourselves in, what is it called, shutdown, default, shutdown, something that may affect the work of the immigration courts. Such a situation is not a new one. When the funding ended and was not authorized because of the politics, basically, it happened before. What happens usually is that USCIS continues to work, but courts will be shut down until the new budgets are authorized. You may want to know this information. Just if you do have hearings scheduled for November, hearings in immigration courts, you may be affected. But again, maybe we will not face this shutdown and everything will be all right. But the problem is that this shutdown, aid for Ukraine and Israel are all tied up now together with immigration. Unless parties will separate those issues, we may see some changes in immigration policies in the United States, just so you will understand. Another interesting piece of information I wanted to share with you relates to Trump's campaign. Basically, Trump is saying that if he will come to power, he'll come to power. He's going to get really tough on immigration. He says that he will renew mass deportations and detentions, will build basically large camps to house migrants awaiting for deportations. Some of it probably is election speech. But if you recall, during the Trump administration, the enforcement sort of went out of control at some point, where children were placed in detention. So I will not be surprised that most of these promises will become true if Trump is elected. You have to understand this, and if you do have a chance to apply for citizenship, to file for asylum, to file for green card. Please do not procrastinate. Don't think that there is always tomorrow. Immigration is tied up to the politics in the United States. Why? Because it's administrative law, administrative branch. Executives have a lot of power to change the way immigration laws work. Immigration laws are very inflexible, but executive orders are very flexible. Every new president issues their own orders. Every new head of the administration for immigration courts or DHS issues their memos that change the way your case will be considered. So please understand that. Don't wait. If you are eligible for citizenship, file for it. If you're eligible to file for immigration marriage-based green card, don't wait until tomorrow, file for it, okay? Because if administration changes, then your prospects of green card citizenship will change as well, just so you understand that. And now, guys, I also wanted to remind you that USCIS constantly updates their forms. And when you're submitting something by paper, if you drafted your form several months ago, even a month ago, please make sure to go to USCIS website, find the form, and make sure that you have the latest edition of the form. Extremely important not to have your case stuck in an RFE or being rejected. Extremely important. And now if you guys have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hi, Semjen. Hi, Wise Shot. Hi, Jali. Hi, Ladu. Hi, Laughter Awaits. Hi, Yasir from Nebraska. Nice to see you too. Hi, Elsu. Nice, from New York City. Nice to see you here, Elsu. Hi, Christine. Hi. Hi, Al. Here is the question in Russian, but I will answer it first in English. Are there any prospects of legalizing people who receive TPS and those people are from Ukraine? Well, first of all, if you win DV lottery or you have an employer in the United States, if you use your TPS-related advanced parole and come back, most of the times you'll be able to file for adjustment of status. If prior to receiving TPS, you did not have legal status in the United States and you need to show that you have continuously maintained lawful non-immigrant status. So TPS is extremely important to file for because it helps you to become legal and later file for adjustment of status based on employer's petition or DV lottery, for example. Currently, people who receive TPS, unfortunately for them, there is no direct path for that green card. It means that TPS by itself doesn't give you a green card. But we do not know what's going to happen in the future. Again, there is politics, there are policies that may change. Several immigration reform proposals did contain provisions about giving green cards to people who maintain TPS for a certain amount of time. Currently, we don't have a law like this. There is hope that for persons from Ukraine, perhaps Congress is going to adopt a special law called Ukrainian Adjustment Act, allowing them, whether they receive TPS or not, to file for green cards. Again, this is just a proposal, right? Just a proposal for Ukrainians. So we will have to wait and see. Believe it or not, TPS is not the worst status in the world. I know many of you think that, oh, I don't have to apply for it. I have asylum pending, or have maybe withholding or removal granted, guys, please apply for it. It's a great status. Why? Because again, gives you opportunity to legally travel, come back, and become legal, which is extremely important. Many of you will be able to file motions to reopen based on that, if you do have an order of removal previously, and fix your immigration status later. So do not ignore TPS. Now I will repeat the same or almost the same in Russian very quickly. Дорогие друзья, если вы квалифицируетесь на TPS, пожалуйста, не тяните, не ждите, подавайте. Очень хороший статус, потому что дает вам возможность защититься от депортации, получить разрешение на выезд-въезд, разрешение на работу. Если вы висите, ждете, что ваше убежище будет одобрено, все равно подавайте на TPS, пожалуйста. Тяжело иногда бывает получить убежище, а TPS легко, помните об этом. Когда вы путешествуете с TPS Advanced Parole, при возвращении назад в Америку вы становитесь в легальном статусе. Очень-очень важно, поэтому не пренебрегайте, пожалуйста, TPS. Встречаю постоянно людей, которые не подали на TPS, а теперь жалеют. Поэтому подавайте, особенно если вы из Украины, вам разрешили подавать, новое окно открыли на следующие 18 месяцев. Поэтому, пожалуйста, подавайте. All right. Yes, my wife visa. Now we're gonna go to English speaking clients. Hi, Abdul. Okay, my wife visa processing. I ready. Go visa sent me. Okay. Not really sure what it means, but please, if you are going to rephrase your question for me, I'll be happy to answer it. Hi, Ladu. I'm watching from Pakistan. Thank you very much. All right. Hi, Art Silk. Hi, Omar. Hi, Omar. How can I come to USA from Bangladesh legally? Well, on my website, shautsova.com, there is an article saying how to immigrate to the United States. And it talks about possible ways of how one may immigrate to the United States. Family-based immigration, employment, investment. These are three main ways. There are some exotic ways, but not many people will qualify for those. So if you do not have a close family member, such as your spouse or parent, the fastest way usually would be if you find an employer. Guys, immigration lawyers typically do not find employers for you. You will have to do your own research or work with some legitimate agency, which is very, very important. So these are the usual ways. All right? You cannot file for asylum, just so you know, from outside of the United States. It's very important. Hi, Pella. My I-730 was sent to NYC on October 31st, but I haven't received any update. Hey, it's been only 2 weeks. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Only 2 weeks is nothing for NYC. So you will receive the update. Don't worry. Hi, Alena. Hi, True Wisdom. After filing my I-130 for my U.S. citizen daughter, December 2022, on November 6, 2023, I got RFE for her debt for birth certificate. Was sent back the same day. Do you know how much longer live in Mexico? Well, it depends on how soon the officer will be able, who was assigned and working on the case, will be able to review your response. Usually within 30 days, the case will be decided if no other questions would be present and the officer can make their decision. All right, usually. Some cases get stuck, but usually it's pretty quick. Oh, we were thinking about moving case to Bahamas, country of birth. I cannot advise you online whether it's going to be good or not, but what you need to know is that when somebody filed that I-130, in that filing, they already mentioned which country, which consulate is a desirable consulate for the beneficiary to go for the visa. However, there are rules about that as well. So depending on the country of citizenship, usually, and permanent residence, NVC will designate the consulate with Department of Homeland Security and Department of State. So whether or not your plan may work, I do not know. Because usually you have to reside permanently in the country where you would like to have your immigrant visa interview. Okay, that's the rule of thumb. Hi, Felix. Very nice to see you too. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Lorraine. If someone was deported and he served his time outside the United States, when is the right time to start returning procedure? 1 year before or 1 year after the maximum ban? Well, here how it goes. Why the person was deported? What happened? Some bars to come to the United States can be served 10 years after the person was removed, 10 years if the person accumulated more than a year of unlawful presence time. But some bars cannot be served just by spending time outside of the United States. For example, person was deported due to misrepresentation or fraud. Person was deported due to criminal record. Then it means that no matter how much time you spend outside of the United States, you'll still face issues, right? You will still need a waiver. When is the right time to start working on your case? Depends on the basis as to why you would like to come back. What is the basis? What kind of visa you think you would qualify for? Is it an immigrant visa based on a petition by your child? Is the petition approved? Is it ready? Knowing that I-130 petition typically takes about 6 months to 12 months to get approved, knowing that the admissibility is decided on the date of your interview, that's how you can plan the timing of you starting working on the case, okay? Typically, about a year and a half before you serve your bans. But remember, in addition to time bans and bars, there may be some bars that you will have to still address with a waiver. So talk to a lawyer. But I would say a year and a half, usually, depending on that visa, depending who is sponsoring who, yada, 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 okay? Hired Silk, are Russians still eligible for tourist visas? And if so, which embassies do they have to apply, because the ones in Russia probably are closed? Yes, Russian national citizens were never banned from obtaining any kind of visas to come to the United States. There was a spike of denials at some point, but the United States government does not discriminate and cannot discriminate. They never said that Russian citizens cannot file for certain types of visas. Which embassy? Any embassy that is open. If you are a Russian citizen or national and you would like to file for a non-immigrant visa, tourist visa, you can submit your application at any consulate. That's the rule, because US consulates in Russia are closed. You still, however, be held to the same standards that other people are held to. You still have to show that you will not stay in the United States permanently. Someone who files for that non-immigrant visa has a burden of proving that they do not possess non-immigrant intent, all right? So in practice, it's harder for a Russian national to qualify for a non-immigrant tourist visa, but very much possible. Another obstacle would be the fact, excuse me, that typically people would go for these visas in European countries. But you may be aware that Russian nationals cannot now get European visas, those Schengen visas. So whatever access to whatever consulate you may have, that's where you will be filing for that visa. Kazakhstan, perhaps Georgia, Cyprus, maybe, something like that, depending on your physical abilities to travel to that consulate. Hi, Mohsan. People are saying Trump will go after legal migration. I don't get it. Why? Why would he do that? It's legal, not illegal. All right. Why would he do that? It's hard for me to comment on specific news if I don't see it. Okay. So far, what I've seen related to Trump's promises regarding people who are undocumented in the United States, right? Trump's promises undocumented people. Any specific changes that his administration would propose with regard to legal immigration, I'm just not aware of those. Maybe they're less popular to be discussed in media sources, so I cannot comment. We'll see what's going to happen. Do you think he's going to get elected? You comment, you let me know. You let me know. And if you also, please, Mr. Khan, if you have the link to the news, comment it in our chat. I'm going to review it and maybe in my next video we'll address it. But usually, if you are legal in the United States, you don't have to worry about changes in administration. If you're a citizen, fantastic. If you're not a citizen, file for your citizenship, because one little mistake, some silly accusations of some sort of criminal activity, some mistakes on taxes may cost you your status in the United States. Just remember that. Hi, sir. Until now, I'm not applying for any benefits or status. Is that possible applying for TPS that I qualify instead of applying for asylum while I'm in removal proceedings of master hearing court 2025? If you qualify for TPS, even if you are in removal proceedings, discuss it with your attorney and yes, file for it. Okay? Don't hesitate. Asylum is, generally speaking, and I'm not familiar with your case, generally speaking, asylum is difficult to win. All right. Maybe you can get some sort of arrangement in court. Maybe you can close your case in court, file asylum with USCIS. Now they allow that you can, if you didn't have your case first filed with USCIS, you may close your case in court and ask for affirmative asylum process instead. So talk to your attorney. What would be the best strategy for your case, considering also that your master hearing is going to be in 2025, right? But TPS, general advice, if you qualify for TPS, don't hesitate. You have to grab it, all right? Grab the TPS. It's called temporary protected status, but I do not know anyone who lost that status, meaning that any country that lost that status. Hi, think positive. Can you explain why for Form I-45 granted asylum you said sent a letter for interview? Why? They want to talk to you. They would like to see what's happening with you. Have you traveled to your country from which you received asylum from? Is your story very similar to a story of other person who filed the asylum after you? Perhaps I'm just scaring you, and it's none of that sort. All right. If you have true case, if you never violated the conditions of your asylum status, if you never presented to court forged documents, you don't have to worry. They want to see you, come and talk to them. If you're very worried, hire an attorney to go with you. Interviews for asylum-based green cards were very common during the Trump administration. They were calling everybody. Maybe your case is in office that doesn't have many cases, and they would like to show they're working. They would like to see you. Talk to attorney. See if you have any grounds for concern. All right? But typically, you shouldn't be worrying about it. Hi, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you need a consultation. You have questions I will not be able to answer during the live. Remember, this is just to give you a general idea, right? based on Hi Lorraine. Yes, we discussed that. What I think you need to do, you and your children should probably consult with an attorney about the prospects of your returning back. You need to order copies of your files from USCIS, guys. For everyone who's been through immigration system in the United States and got deportation order especially, you must have at least copy of USCIS files and EOIR files. All right, very important. It takes also time to get these files. Okay. You are welcome, Think Positive. Hi, Patel. When am I supposed to get biometric appointment notice if for you visa? Also, how long get bona fide determination, I think. Yeah, I think that's what your question is. When you're supposed to be fingerprinted? Usually within a month or two after you filed your U visa petition. All right, months or two, you're going to be called for the fingerprints. Those determinations for the work permits, I do not know when you're going to receive it. I'll be completely honest. It may take years. I really do not know how fast USCIS is processing them. I did see certain statistics on that last year, but I didn't see anything good this year. Once they published notice saying that if you filed for the U visa but did not submit requests for the work permits, you should submit those request applications now. And we did that. Haven't heard back yet. So we're going to see what's happening. All right. We're going to see what's happening with that. Now, guys, it's been about half an hour and I'm getting tired. I know some of your questions I didn't answer. I'll try to answer them either by quickly sending you a reply in the chat, or perhaps please meet me next week. There is only one me. If you have a long question, please call my office, set up an appointment, 917-885-2261. We'll be happy to share my thoughts on your situations. Sometimes I have definite answer based on memorandums, law, practice. And sometimes we have to brainstorm as to what to do with you. I'll be completely honest. Many people are calling me, and some of you have very interesting situations, not typical situations, I would say. So it all depends. Remember, each case is different. Case of your friend sometimes is very different than yours. You will think, well, why the case is moving so fast and I'm stuck? Because it's different, you know? That's what it is. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Please like, share this video. Don't forget to sign up for Facebook, YouTube, and I hope to see you soon.